Okay, this is manufacturing part 5, and we're going to talk specifically about some processes used for plastics and ceramics, such as plastic sheeting or even the little plastic parts that are on a spark plug. The first one we're going to talk about is extrusion, and if you remember we talked about extrusion with metal before, but extrusion when we're talking about plastics, there's actually a screw shape in here that's what's pushing the plastic along. The plastic comes in with little bitty chopped up pellets of plastic. Think little grains of rice size. They come in. This screw moves the pellets along down this chamber. As it goes down the chamber, it goes through heaters that melt the plastic. So at this end, it's melted. And then it gets shoved through this hole. It could be pushed through and be in shapes of tubes, pipes, flat sheets, or it could have a shape like this, but it would be a very long, skinny, uniform shape, and then they'd come in and slice it off in the shape that in the desired lengths that they want. The second kind we're going to talk about is injection molding, and think about injections. This should kind of look like an injection you might get at the doctor. Basically what happens is this plunger here can move back and forth. You see it's moving through the different stages, and it pushes the plastic through a nozzle and into a mold. So here's the shape that I want to produce. And so what happens is, here's those kind of plastic pellets. They come in, they get heated here. This plunger pushes forward and the little plastic gets shot into this little shape here. Here it's getting pushed in. Then over here, now this is cooling on this side. Then they open up the mold and the little piece falls out. Casting is, casting, let me get back to it, there it is. Casting is similar to what we did casting with the metals. Here we're not putting any pressure on it or any fillers or on it. We just have two sides of the mold. We put the plastic inside there. It's closed while the plastic hardens, and then we pop the little piece out. The next one is rotational molding. And in rotational molding, we have some kind of closed mold here. We put the little powder or pellets of plastic inside here. We close up this mold and we apply heat to the outside. And this spins around. As this spins around, the plastic is evenly distributed around the outside from centripetal force. Pushes the little plastic to the outside where it's heated. And it sticks there. Then they cool it down, and then they pop off the other side of the mold, and out pops a little hollow plastic, whatever we're talking about. There's also blow molding, which blow with like wind coming out. That's exactly what happens here. They have a tube of plastic, a hollow tube, is pushed down into this mold, and this is a blow pin at the bottom. So here's the little piece of plastic that they stuck in here, a little tube, and it closes together on this mold, and then this little blow pin here, it pumps air up inside there. As it's heated on the outside, this little thing pushes the shape out around the edges and the shape of the mold, and then once it cools, then they pop the little shape out. Thermoforming, thermo heat. So here we have a plastic sheet on the top, and it comes down and it sits right on top of this little metal plate here, and then once it sits down here on top, it forms like a little seal. Then they do a vacuum pump that pumps the air out of this section. It yanks the plastic down as it heats it. See, there was a heater there. As it heats it, and then it drops the temperature off of it, and the plastic holds this little shape. We also have reaction molding. A reaction, like a chemical reaction, is where we have two different parts here. Here they had glass strands and resin, and then a resin on this side. They both get moved in to a mixing area, and then they get pumped into the mold. Basically, this is like glues, if you've ever seen glues where there's like two different tubes, and when they come out, you mix them together, and then they harden up. This is the same idea. A chemical reaction happens right here that turns it from two liquids or powders into our final product that we're going to have over here. The bonuses of this is the curing time, super fast. This product is ready to go, typically in less than a minute. Okay, now we're going to talk about ceramic processes, and there's two kinds that we're going to talk about here. The first one is for glass. Glass, we just heat it up, and it's a liquid. And over here you can see the heated glass, which is maybe liquid is too strong of a word. It's a molten shape. It's molten, so it's easily bendable over here. Very thick liquid, maybe. And then they shape it into the shapes they want. So here's like a little process example. They have a glob of melted glass. It goes in here and it kind of slides down the sides of this mold. They apply pressure to it so that it comes out exactly this shape. Then they take this little blank shape and put it into this other mold here. Add pressure at the top, which blows it out to make the outside shape. Again, they're going to have to apply heat here to get the glass to bend again. And then we end up with a finished jar at the end. The other one would be crystalline ceramics. So think porcelain, clay, pottery, and also ceramics like the ceramics we have on little light poles, the tiles for your house, but also tiles for the outside of the shuttles. Those are all crystalline ceramics. And the process is basically the same no matter if we're talking about a little figurine or the tiles for the outside of the space shuttle. Basically, first we have a conception, then they make a little clay model of what we're going to have. Here, this is like casting. We're pouring the liquid ceramic into each one of these. It then dries out to the point where it's a solid form out of our ceramic mixture, because they've taken some of the water out of it, so it's solid enough to hold its shape. They come in here and make any extra little adjustments they need to, any finishing things, and then they heat it up so that it becomes a permanent solid and won't lose its shape.